Dan Mirvish, welcome to Cinemonde, number 33.
Thank you.
We wish you could be here.
I wish I could too. Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't make it, but merci beaucoup for
Where
inviting me.
where are you?
I am in Culver City, California, and this is my garage slash production office slash post-production office, and you'll actually we even use this room in the movie that you're going to see. So yes, take a good look at it. But this is where all the magic happens.
We don't want to give away too much about the movie because we're about to see it for the first time.
Right.
I think people want to know a little bit more about you. I know your movies, and I think this is the first time you've ever adapted a play. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Why this play? Why did you choose this one to start this adaptation kind of process?
Right. Well, the last movie I'd done a few years ago was called Open House, which was a real estate musical, because, someone had to make one of those. And there was actually talk of turning that into a stage play of some kind. And so that took me out to New York to meet with, Broadway producers, agents, anyone I could find with jazz hands. And but while I was in those meetings, I said, well, look, as long as I'm here, do you guys have any plays, not necessarily musicals, but plays that would make good film adaptations? And they said, yeah, no one ever asked us for these. Here's stacks and stacks of plays. And I guess because whatever wins the Tony or the Pulitzer, Scott Rudin will buy the rights, or Warner Brothers or Searchlight. But there's a lot that just kind of goes by the wayside. I think mainly because the agents are all trying to get the playwrights to do TV writing. And so that's where the money is. So consequently, I read about 30 plays, and a lot of good ones, but there are really only two that gravitated towards my attention. One was actually was Between Us, which I really liked. It kind of spoke to me in a lot of ways, which you'll see. The other, by the way, was a political thriller called Farragut North by a guy named Beau Willimon, which I like, but I thought it would be hard to do on a low budget if I had to. So I passed on that, and of course George Clooney did it, and it was called Ides of March, and he got a happy ending for my sloppy seconds on that one. But he's doing okay. That kid,
He'll be fine. We don't have to worry about the George.
Yeah, he'll go places. But as I said, Between Us really kind of spoke to me more with kind of where I was in my in my life. With I'm married. I mean, my marriage is a lot better than these people that you're going to see. But and have kids and dealing with a lot of these same kinds of issues, so I could, relate to it a lot more.
Okay.
And I got together with Joe Hortua, the playwright, and the play had been performed at Manhattan Theater Club in New York. Depending on which way I'm facing, that's either that way or that way, and had done quite well there. And Joe was excited about turning it into a screenplay as well. So we wrote the adaptation together, and and then there's elements of it that came from my own life that I inserted in, which you'll see in the movie. And we tried to make it as well. We'll see, you tell me, but we tried to make it as cinematic as we could in the way we did the adaptation,
okay.
And without giving too much away.
Okay, and your casting with Julia Stiles, Mr. George. Taye Diggs, of course, and David Harbour playing the male leads. Were any of them connected to the play, or did
Right. So David Harbour had been in the original play at Manhattan Theater Club, and they even kind of workshopped it with him early on. So he had been involved with this project for a long time, and as you'll see, really knows that character very well. And then the other three were kind of new to the project. Of the other three, I think we cast Taye Diggs first. And then Julia was next, and she was supposed to be doing a Broadway play, and then that canceled, and so she became available, which was tremendously fortunate for us. And then Melissa George came in, and we were able to do 2 weeks rehearsal in my kitchen, because we couldn't do it in the garage, because this is where the production office was. And then we shot mostly in L.A., and then shot a little bit in Omaha and a little bit in New York. And then since then, it's played at 22 film festivals. It won in 7 countries. It won the Grand Jury Prize at the Bahamas, because if you're going to win a prize, it may as well be in the Bahamas, I suppose.
Nice place to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, you've been doing this. You've been doing this for a long time now,
right.
And it doesn't ever get any easier, does it?
No, it never does. It never does.
But it's more complicated now that you have kids and a wife and
Yes.
all these different things to juggle. So how do you do it?
Well, I married well. My wife is very generous to me and lets me make these movies every now and again. But yeah, we have 3 kids, and it's a challenge to kind of keep up with them. But the longer you go, you get access to better material and better, more agents and managers seem to know who you are, and you can call them. And I mean, this film we tried to make a few years ago at a much bigger budget, and then in 2008 the economy collapsed, and there was no way you could get this movie or any movie made. And luckily that coincided with a little side project I was doing again here in the garage, where another filmmaker friend of mine, Eitan Gorlin, we created a fake McCain advisor, and we got a book deal, and so. When presented with the option, do you keep not getting paid to not direct a movie, or do you get paid to write a book? One's wife tells you to write the book, and we did very well with that. It was a lot of fun to do. We got great reviews, and then we're close to turning that into a Showtime series. But then when that ultimately kind of fell through, just an executive gets fired and everything falls through, we came back to Between Us, and we said, look, one of the reasons I chose it is because at the end of the day, it is really 4 people in 2 rooms. How hard could that be to shoot, right, Jerry? And
well, how hard could it be to make interesting and provocative, of course, too.
Yeah, well, that's the tricky part. But so we
started with good material, though.
Right, exactly, and that's the key, because we always knew we could attract terrific actors to a project like this, and we had access to a lot of their agents and managers, and at this point we now decided to do it at a much more micro budget level, and raised money on Kickstarter and Facebook, and from some generous farmers in Nebraska, and people, all kinds of interesting people. And just set a start date and said, let's do it. Let's shoot the movie.
Fantastic. Dan, we're going to close out now. You're known as a kind of a mischief maker.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. People maybe don't recognize you immediately, but you created the Slam Dance Film Festival, which was a little piece of mischief that's gone on for 20 years or so. Yes,
yeah, I did that, and the the Oscars, the Academy changed the rules of the Academy Awards because of me, because it's a long story, but we, with Open House, the real estate musical, we found out that there was an Academy category called Best Original Musical, but in order to activate the category, we have to go to Germany and shoot a bad German musical in 9 days, and they didn't like that idea. So yeah, I'm a bit of a mischief maker. But
so my question is, my last question is, what little piece of mischief are you working on right now for us in the future?
Well, I can't say too much, because otherwise, really, what's the point? But if you look up the Hathaway effect on the Wikipedia, you might have some ideas. So
the Hathaway effect.
The Hathaway, yeah. But it turns out if Anne Hathaway is in the news, the share price for Berkshire Hathaway goes up, Warren Buffett's company. So which is a little thing I discovered a couple of years ago. So I may turn that into something. Okay. But we'll see. I mean, this Between Us has really taken the bulk of my time over on and off over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's been a wonderful ride. I think I lost 10 pounds making the film, but I put on about 20 on the festival circuit. So
and when does it open? When does the film open?
Funny you should say that. It opens nationwide on June 21st. Certainly in LA and a number of other cities. I'm not sure about New York yet. Maybe by the time you're watching this, we'll know. But it's definitely going to be opening soon, and then about a month later on VOD and that sort of thing. So if you miss it in the theaters, you can watch it that way. And more importantly, for everyone here, tell your friends to catch it, and they can go to the website and the Facebook Between Us Movie or at Between Us Movie on the Twitter, and find out how to get it. And we're very grateful to our friends at Monterey Media for letting us show it tonight and for distributing the film.
Okay, thanks so much, Dan. We wish you could be here with us.
Yes, well, bon chance with the screening, and I wish I could be there too, Jerry.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Good night.